Hi, this is Doug Schneider. Welcome back to Real Hi-Fi. Last fall, I made an episode where I contrasted the Focal Chora 806 loudspeaker, this model right here, with Focal's own Sopra #1 loudspeaker, which at the time cost about 10 times as much. And the point I wanted to make in that video was when you spend 10 times the amount of money, you don't necessarily get 10 times the performance when it comes to similarly sized and configured and competently designed speakers. Instead, that monumental increase in price often gives you an incremental increase in performance, and that's simply called diminishing returns, and it applies to most products. Today I want to revisit that topic again with two Focal speakers closer in price, the 806 again, and the new Aria K2 906, which we recently received for review. First, let's talk about price. The Aria K2 906 sells for about $2,400 per pair in the United States. The 806 still sells for about $1,000 per pair. So we're talking almost 2.5 times as much to get into this model. But it's important to note that there's another model kind of in between, and that is the standard Aria 906, which sells for $2,200 per pair. And it is the model that this is actually based on. This is a limited edition model. That's what they're promoting it as, with some souped up features. As for the speaker's overall sizing and driver complement, they're more similar than different, which isn't really surprising given that they're both two-way stand mounts from the same company. So they have about the same depth and width, though you can see the 806 is just a little taller. In terms of the driver complement, the driver sizes are the same. A 1-inch inverted dome tweeter in both, and a 6.5-inch mid-range woofer. Now, I'm not sure if the tweeters themselves are the same in these speakers. What is different is the waveguide surrounding each tweeter. They're a different shape, and that'll affect the dispersion of the tweeter differently. Also, this one has a grill over top of it, and that's because this one doesn't have a grill that covers the entire speaker, only the 6.5-inch mid-range woofer, whereas this has a grill that covers the entire front baffle. As for those 6.5-inch mid-range woofers, this one, the Chora, has what they call a slate fiber cone. It's a special material made by Focal for the Chora series. This has what Focal calls a K2 power cone, which has Kevlar in it, and Kevlar goes back decades in Focal's history, so they brought it out for this model. Now, what's important to note is that the Aria 906, the standard model, has a flax fiber base cone. So the mid-range woofers are quite different in these speakers, and therefore the performance characteristics will probably be a little different. What's also similar are the specifications that Focal provides with each loudspeaker. They're not identical, but they're similar, and some of the numbers are the same. And that's not really surprising because you've got similarly sized speakers and similar drivers from the same company. So you're going to see broadly a similar sensitivity, impedance, frequency extension, all that. That shouldn't be surprising to anyone. And that's why I stressed in that video in the fall that these speakers of roughly the same size and driver complement perform similarly. And that's why so many inexpensive speakers can punch way above their weight. And likewise, our measurements of both sets of speakers are similar. Not the same, but similar. They're cut from the same cloth. And again, that shouldn't be surprising. We've got two similar speakers from the same company. What's not the same, though, is the way these cabinets are built and also the way they look. Now, the knuckle wrap test doesn't tell you all that much, but it gives you an indication of the solidity of the cabinet. This is a solider, more dense cabinet. You can feel it when you lift it. It's also way better looking. It has this glass plate on top, leather on the front baffle, urethane around the tweeter as the waveguide versus this shiny plastic. And these side panels are curved and finished in a high gloss, what they call ash gray finish, usually reserved for the Utopia line, which is the top of the line models out of Focal. It's just a way better built and a way better looking speaker, at least in my estimation. And to me, that's worth more money. As for the sounds of these two speakers, this is where I'm going to leave you hanging just a little bit and let our reviews do the talking. Diego Estan reviewed the Chora 806 on SoundStage Access in February 2020. You can go there, read the review, see the measurements. There's a link at the top. Now, the Aria K2 906 will appear on SoundStage Hi-Fi on March 1st with the measurements. And again, Diego Estan reviewed it. But I want to give you a heads up on that upcoming review. You're not going to see a Chora 806 Aria K2 906 head-to-head comparison. And that was for two reasons. One was logistical. When he was reviewing the 906s, we didn't have the 806s in his room. But even if we did, I'm not sure Diego would have compared them, at least at length, because if you read both reviews, go read the 806 now, read the 906 when it comes out, you'll see that he loved both speakers so much, his natural inclination was to compare them to speakers costing much more. As a result, what you'll see in both reviews is a comparison to the Revel M126BE, which we consider a great reference for a stand mount design, and it's priced at $4,400 per pair. So it's going to give you an idea how each of those speakers compares to the Revel. However, that leaves us an interesting option for the future. It'd be nice to get a whole bunch of Focal speakers, the Chora, this one, maybe the Aria 906, the Canta number 1, which comes below the Sopra number 1, and see how they all compare as you move up in price. Like I said in that video though, don't expect monumental improvements as you move up in price. You can get monumental improvements in build and appearance, but sound quality, it's incremental. And that's just the way it goes with loudspeakers and, in fact, most hi-fi components. Finally, I want to finish off this video by pointing out Tracy Chapman's debut album from the 1980s. Everyone knows it's a fantastic album musically, but it's also a great album to evaluate your stereo system with. Diego used it for the 906 review. I often use it in my own reviews. Many other SoundStagers use it in their reviews. If you haven't listened to it in a long time, I encourage you to do so because you might start using it too. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, and thank you again for watching.